City of Chicago, having obtained the least number of votes, will not participate in the next round.
Chicago is out? Chicago is out?
There's been a recent attempt made to extort money from him. Letterman referred the matter to the Special Prosecution Bureau.
Again, no one expected this development, and an audible gasp went up in this building when the announcement.
Do we have Copenhagen?
Letterman said that in his testimony, he acknowledged sexual relationships with members of his staff. My response to that is yes, I have. We'll be back. Well, let me continue with this. This has been quite a night.
I guess you're right if I wake up in your mind.
Welcome to the America 20XY Week in Review. Today is Saturday, October the 3rd, 2009. I am your host, Andrew Steele. Now, our first and probably most important story of this week first broke on Prison Planet on September 29th. Montana town occupied by private paramilitary security force. And the first couple paragraphs of that say, a private security force whose biggest role is helping the U.S. government to combat terrorism is now patrolling the streets of a town in Montana, acting as law enforcement but accountable to nobody and operating completely outside the limitations of the U.S. Constitution and the chilling throwback to the brown shirts of Nazi Germany. The American Police Force Organization is a paramilitary unit that provides surveillance, investigative, and military services across the world, according to its website, which shows men dressed in military fatigues carrying machine guns. As part of our mission, APF plays a critical role in helping the U.S. government meet vital homeland security and national defense needs. Within the last 5 years, the United States has been far and away our number one client. Technologies, programs, and services performed by APF have played a very important role in the U.S. military and civilian efforts to protect our homeland and combat terrorism, the website states. Now, that was the opening paragraph of the story that first shed light on this, and thanks to the efforts of Alex Jones, the mainstream media actually picked up on it also. Probably one of the most prominent articles, other than the Prison Planet and InfoWars articles, the only true journalists still in America there, but one of the most prominent mainstream, quote-unquote, articles is from USA Today. And it says, what is the American Police Force and what is it doing in Montana? This was written on October 1st. A secretive California outfit called the American Police Force is taking over the 2-year-old never-used prison in Hardin, Montana that was briefly considered a possible spot for Guantanamo prisoners. The story has many twists and turns. We recommend you read the Billings Gazette article for a primer on the story. KULR-TV of Billings, Montana. And then it goes on to list other pages. And then it says APF's website, that's American Police Force, which has been periodically unavailable, says it leverages the talent and expertise of their extensive global network to provide local, regional, and national security solutions to the United States government and other clients who are in need of customized private investigative services. Here's its website pitch. Whether you are suspicious about a cheating spouse or concerned about a personal threat, APF's team will employ their experience to fulfill your domestic investigation needs. And one odd twist, Becky Shea, a reporter for the Billings Gazette who has reported extensively on the Hardin prison, quit her job and is now a spokeswoman for the group in Hardin, except that she now mainly has no comment when pressed about what is going on. Some other unusual wrinkles. Mercedes SUVs belonging to APF began showing up recently in town with magnetic decals that said City of Hardin Police Department, but later removed them. APF, which has mentioned using the facility for military training, refuses to offer any specifics until after a contract to take over the prison is signed. Albert Peterson, Vice President of Hardin's tax-supported economic development arm that built the prison 2 years ago, says people will be shocked when they learn the high quality of the person who will be running the operation, the Gazette reports. I did my background checks and my homework, and they're legit, he said, but won't reveal the name. Peterson says APF hopes to begin filling the prison with inmates early next year, but neither he nor APF will say where the prisoners are coming from. The Gazette quotes local officials as saying they have reasons to believe that APF is a spin-off of a much larger security company that has contracts around the world. Montana Rep. Bob Ebinger has joined other lawmakers in seeking questions from Hardin officials about the unusual deal. Always, when things are secretive, you end up getting everybody, on both the right and the left, making suppositions about what's going on, Ebinger, a Democrat, tells the Great Falls Tribune. But KULR says APF's founder, Michael Hilton, has an extensive criminal record and has spent 6 years in a California prison. The Missoulian, if I'm pronouncing that right, says court records show he also uses the aliases Midrag Ilya Dokovic, and Michael Miodrag. And now is at the point where I flash up a picture of the logo that they had put on the black SUVs. They were not police cars, but they had put police logos on the doors. So that's their logo, and then should be juxtaposed now with the Serbian flag. Now the reason that this came to light is a lot of thanks goes out to Alex Jones and his heroic efforts to bring this to the national spotlight, because it broke first on Infowars and PrisonPlanet.com. And you got to wonder who's running this organization that wants to take over this prison. Well, the guy's name is Michael Hilton, and we have this article, more on Hardin jail entrepreneurs' checkered past. The story is from the AP on September 30th. Michael Hilton showed up in Hardin, Montana last week, presenting himself as an economic savior. The man who would take over the town's $27 million jail, empty since it was built as a development project in 2007, and provide 200 new jobs in the process. He wore a military-style uniform, and as a gesture to local law enforcement, offered up the use of 3 Mercedes SUVs. But the man who styles himself as a military veteran turned private sector entrepreneur and a California defense contractor with extensive government contracts also has another image, and that one is provided by public documents and interviews with associates and legal adversaries. The record says that he is a convicted felon with at least 17 aliases, a string of legal judgments against him, 2 bankruptcies, and a decades-long reputation for deals gone bad. American Police Force is the company Hilton formed in March to take over the Hardin jail. Such schemes you cannot believe, said Joseph Corella, an Orange County, California doctor and co-defendant with Hilton in real estate fraud case that resulted in a civil judgment against Hilton and several others. The guy's brilliant. If he had been able to do honest work, he probably would have been a gazillionaire, Corella said. Court documents show Hilton has outstanding judgments against him in 3 civil cases totaling more than $1.1 million. As for Hilton's military expertise, including his claim to have advised forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, those interviewed knew of no such feats. Instead, Hilton was described alternately by those who know him as an arts dealer, cook, restaurant owner, land developer, loan broker, and car salesman, always with money-making scheme in the works. Hilton did not return several calls seeking comment. American Police Force attorney Maziar Mafi referred questions to company spokeswoman Becky Shea. When asked about court records detailing Hilton's past, Shea replied, "The documents speak for themselves. If anyone has found public documents, the documents are what they are." Shea declined comment on Hilton's military experience. Al Peterson, vice president of Hardin's Two Rivers Authority, which built the jail, declined to comment on Hilton's legal troubles.
Were you sent here by the devil? No, good sir, I'm on the level.
The jail deal is worth more than $2.6 million a year, according to city leaders. The 3 SUVs Hilton brought to Montana have yet to be turned over to the city, which does not have a police force of its own but is considering forming one. At least one is being driven by Shea, a former reporter who abruptly quit her job at the Billings Gazette. She said Hilton offered her $60,000 a year to work for him. Hilton has also pledged to build $17 million military and law enforcement training center.